So, I am the director of Latin American Studies, and Lenny Ureña is the associate director for program development at the Latin American Iberian Institute. The Latin American Studies program is part of the Latin American and Iberian Institute. So we thought we would start with why Latin American Studies, because often as an undergraduate, you don't get kind of the big picture of what Latin American studies are and what they're useful for. Latin American studies, this part you probably do know, is the study of a region, and it's also a multidisciplinary approach to that region. Area studies came about starting in the Cold War, and it was a way for the United States to understand its enemies. However, the field soon transformed, and it began to be a place where scholars who sought to promote justice and respond to poverty in Latin America gathered and did their scholarship, and the field grew. So the field developed theories of dependency, theories to explain modernization, authoritarianism, social change, democratization, but always with the North dominant, with especially the United States dominating the intellectual process. However, much more recently, the power dynamics within area studies have changed too, and scholars from all over the hemisphere are much more likely to collaborate and to engage communities in research and in solving their own local situations with a collective of our different knowledge and experiences. And within Latin American studies, we believe that understanding the local as well as the regional is vital to questioning those big stories that try to explain problems and solutions at a global level. So Latin American studies is one of the areas that responds to the lack of success that we have when we try to understand a problem from only one part of the world, and especially when we try to develop a solution within one part of the world and impose it on another. So area studies was one of the first places in the university to develop multi and later interdisciplinary study efforts. And right now, we really need both the multidisciplinary as well as the depth of regional knowledge in order to solve overwhelming challenges that affect everyone in the globe, things like climate change and poverty and conflict. So why particularly this region? You'll see that at the University of New Mexico, our demographics are very strongly affected by Latin America. We have a very large Latinx Hispanic population, and we also live on the border, very influenced by our historical relationships with Latin America. So many of our students come to Latin American studies to understand their own heritage in depth, and also to work effectively with Latinx colleagues and employees and clients, and to solve problems that affect the entire region through collaboration. Certainly, questions like climate change, water resources, and immigration are absolutely central to living in New Mexico. So what can I do with an MA in Latin American Studies? And we thought that maybe taking a look at some of our graduates would be helpful here. Right now, these are just a few of the organizations where UNM alumni have built their careers. And we're happy to send this PowerPoint to you and make it available for folks to get a sense. You can see here that there are people working locally on immigration issues. There are people working with Department of State nationally, people working in the arts and cultures, and people working in areas that don't apparently have an immediate connection to Latin America, such as high school education and housing. And yet those alumni find that their study of Latin America has really helped them in their careers. Lenny, did you want to take over the next few slides?
Yes, so we wanted to give prospective student a taste of how valuable the degree is for our alumni. So we have a few quotes here. This first one is from Alexandra Blogut, and she graduated from our master's degree in 2012. And she said, I think the multidisciplinary aspect of the program is its greatest strength. I currently work with immigrants, mostly from Latin America, and what I learned from the MALAS program has provided me a better understanding of the historical, economic, and cultural background of the regions where they are from. And that's, the interdisciplinarity of our program is something that gives our students a lot of mobility within the job market, and also this deep understanding of communities is also very helpful to our graduate students and alums.
And I would guess that Alexandra's situation is representative of maybe the largest part of our graduates, people who work in communities with immigrants or with issues that immigrants are facing.
Yes, and another alum that we have is Paul Joseph Lopez Oro. And he said, my master's degree in Latin American study has been quite beneficial in training me to be in multiple disciplinary conversations centered on Latin America and Latinos in the United States, especially in regards to political and national ideologies on race and racism. As a second generation Garifuna Honduran, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, it gave me the intellectual training to expand my work on Black indigeneity in Central America into the field of African American studies and African diaspora studies. So again, this emphasis that from one region, one place, because of the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary training that you get, allows you to connect with other regions in the world, but also locally to the not only the Latino population, but African American population in the US.
And then there are many alumni whose current careers would appear not to have very much at all to do with Latin America, and yet they see the connection. So Maria Jose Ramos Villagra is a mortgage loan officer here in Albuquerque. And she says that she uses her skills to ensure individuals and families and business owners have access to economic stability, home ownership, progress, and innovation. She says, my career has been a combination of research projects focused on economic development in rural and urban communities, paired with experience with marketing, communications, local and national media outlets, research and nonprofit agencies, social media, art, and social work for community organizing. One thing that area studies, an in-depth study of a region does, is to give you a different perspective on all kinds of issues that you would deal with a career, and open your mind up to creative responses to those situations. One of her favorite UNM memories is that of the class conversations that were based on real life case scenarios rather than only on theory. I also enjoyed working with the LAII department, especially working as part of the outreach programming. Through this job, I was able to acquire the experience and the tools that allowed me to find my current job. Some of the jobs that she has had include communications organizer for El Centro de Igualdad y Derechos, which is a local nonprofit for immigrant and low-wage workers in Albuquerque. And we invite you to visit our webpage, and we have about 40 other alums featured there, and you can get a sense of the breadth of careers that they have engaged in.
So why the University of New Mexico? Well, first of all, the studies of Latin America at our institution, it's one of the oldest one in the nation. It was established in the 1930s. Latin America within the University of New Mexico, it's one research area of priority, and it's a strength for our university. Since it was the oldest area studies founded at our university, Latin American studies has driven international programming at our institution. We have over 100 faculty affiliated to Latin American studies, and we collaborate and also these faculties, they are located in 30 plus departments in colleges across campus, colleges such as arts and sciences, community and regional planning, public health, law school, fine arts, etc. So we really have strong collaborations across campus. And we also organize over 50 events a year, and they're represented different areas of Latin America, different disciplines, and different type of guest speakers. We invite activists, we invite scholars, we invite people from the professions, etc. So it is a very dynamic place to study Latin America. And we also have a very engaged student organization, SOLAS, the Student Organization for Latin American Studies. And it's a way for our students to socialize and build community. It's an association, an organization that is for both undergraduate and graduate students. So it's a great way to find community support. Many of our events are student-centered. So it also, SOLAS, we collaborate to put together a good array of programming for students.
So living on the border is has its own attraction, both intellectually as well as culturally. This particular map is a map of indigenous lands. There's a strong focus within our Latin American Studies program on indigeneity. And you can see we are right here in Albuquerque and right in the borderlands region. So that also gives students the opportunity to work with immigrant communities. And I just pulled up a website that is called Share New Mexico, which is a resource directory, just so that you could see some of the local organizations that students can partner with. And I happen to use the keyword Hispanic here. You can see there's a family health helpline. There's a Hispanic American Institute. The National Hispanic Cultural Center has an art museum and many events. There is an Alliance for Hispanic Education, just giving you a sense of a lot of the organizations that work here in Albuquerque or more broadly in New Mexico with immigrant communities and with long-standing local Hispanic communities. Of course, the Hispanic community in New Mexico dates back to the late 1500s. Albuquerque is also a pretty fun place to live, and we want you, if you're considering coming to UNM, to take a look at some of the options. So we have some good resources to check out the fun and the beauty of this city and this area. A lot of wonderful outdoors recreation possibilities, lots of New Mexican food, balloon fiesta and other things like that. So there is a little bit of fun cultural event and outdoor event for you to take a break from your studies. Lenny's area, one of her areas of expertise is funding for students. So she can talk about that.
Yes, so one of the good things of student Latin American here at the university is that we have a wide range of financial support for our graduate students. Most of our graduate students, they come in with a graduate assistantship that is a 2-year commitment of support. We also have field research grants, which are funding for pilot study or preliminary research in Latin America, and for students who are working on their master thesis or professional paper, and or PhD students from other fields at the university. And also this type of funding you can use to develop contacts in Latin America. We also have the Latin American Studies departmental scholarships, which can be used for conference travel. And we also emergency funding, like if you have something that is unplanned, we give students up to $500 to meet that need. We also have funding to support foreign language, particularly Portuguese, or one of our indigenous languages that we offer here on campus, which are Yucatec Maya, Quechua, and Nahuatl. We also have support, FLAS, Foreign Language and Area Studies Fellowships. What I just described is the Foreign Language and Area Studies fellowship for the academic year, where you can study here at UNM. We also have the summer FLAS, or Foreign Language and Area Studies fellowships, that will give you the fund to study this and other languages in Latin America itself during summertime. So besides the funding that we offer through the program, there are also other units on campus that can help supplement some of these awards, or cover different things that we don't cover through our program.
And we'd be happy to point you to the right websites to learn a little bit more about that. So in the MA program in Latin American Studies, every student selects one of these 6 interdisciplinary concentrations. Arts, literature, and cultural studies is one, conflict, peace, and rights, environmental governance and resilience, history and society, indigeneity in the Americas, and markets and development. That concentration then is where you place a majority of your courses. You also have some electives available, and you take a pro seminar in Latin American Studies to get a better idea of the field and of research methods. We also have dual degree programs. We have a dual degree with the community and regional planning, and that's especially for students who want to develop a career engaged in community work. We have a dual degree with the College of Population Health. It's public health is another way to refer to that. There's a dual degree with the law school and with the College of Education in a program called Language, Literacy, and Sociocultural Studies. It is not a licensing program, but you can get advice on how to get licensed as a K-12 teacher there. That program is broader than K-12 teaching and focuses on education that responds to situations of cultural contact, immigration, multicultural settings. We have in the past had a dual degree also with the Anderson School of Management. That's on a bit of a hiatus right now as the international management faculty are in flux, but we hope to reestablish that very soon. And I just wanted to end on a slide of our community that we're working really successfully now. Finally, a few years after the main part of the pandemic, we are reviving our in-person gatherings and our fun. This is a photo from our weekly Bachipapo, which is an informal opportunity to practice Portuguese. And of course, there is the SOLAS organization that Lenny already mentioned. Here is contact information for us, and we encourage you to keep in contact with us.